Let's take a look at Honest Kitchen. I've done one other recipe before, but I'm taking a deep dive. Hello, my name is Steph. I'm a certified dog trainer, canine behaviorist, and canine nutritionist. I'm feeling tired, so you're not going to get much of my face today. First thing is we deep dive into the company online, and so far I like everything that I see. The biggest thing is they say they have human grade food. For those of you who don't really pay attention to like your dog food ingredients, most of that is feed grade, which means it's the same kind of sloth, crappy, chemical shit food that we feed agricultural animals. Our dogs deserve better. I really do think that our dogs should be eating the same food that we do because less processed is best. Now, I love to see certain certifications on brands. It's expensive to get those, so just because they don't have those certifications doesn't mean they're not following those sort of protocols, but of course, it's extra verification if they do follow these. And I'm a gal who likes to support companies that like to be sustainable in their practices and support the environment as well. They have quite a variety of different sort of things you can get from them. They have their clusters, which is their dry dog food. They have their dehydrated dog food, which is my favorite. They have some wet food, which we're not going to take a look at, and they of course have dog treats. They also make like broths and milks and things like that too. So again, taking another look into their human grade, unlike feed grade pet food, which is a lower quality than human food, being human grade means a whole extra measures to ensure the quality and safety standards for all our complete and balanced foods. I just cannot love this enough. That just kind of gives you more information about what feed grade is. So again, more than 1,000 pet foods are made from feed grade. This meets the basic standards set for livestock, what I was saying earlier, made in a pet food factory. So they're saying that there's made in a human factory, human food factory. This is the craziest one. Ingredients may include byproducts and 4D meats. This is dying, dead, diseased, or disabled. This means that animals who are dying can be put, like they're sick and they're dying, can be added into dog food. Animals that are already dead from maybe natural causes, maybe they've been euthanized, maybe they're roadkill, can be in there. Diseased, again, we know for sure that they're sick, disabled, they're lame, all kinds of different stuff. And this ends up in our dog food. Now, testing is super important for any of these companies, especially those who are also doing raw. This is one of the reasons why I stopped using a specific raw brand recently. They weren't using a test, hold, and release program. This means that when they make a batch, they test it. The other company was still releasing it before the results came back, but this place, the process of holding it, they test the product, they hold every single piece of food from that batch, and they don't release it for sale until the results come back, and the results come back clean. So this is a really good indicator that they're really quality checking their food. Okay, the first ones that we're going to look at are the whole food clusters, which is pretty much their dry dog food. And the first recipe that we're going to be looking at is the turkey recipe, grain-free. All right, so here is my breakdown of the ingredients. A lot of green ingredients, which I like. The potatoes, peas, and lentils, of course, they told us it was grain-free, so there's going to be a lot of those contents in there, those ingredients. I do have 2 red. The ground flaxseed, I am being super picky on that just by my definition of what deserves to be a red ingredient. Number 1, it is a plant material. I do like flaxseed as a whole, though, but the biggest reason why it's red is just simply because it's ground. Natural turkey flavor, I'm always going to label that a red because I do not like vague ingredients. What the hell is your natural turkey flavor if it's not turkey? I hardly ever look at any of the minerals and vitamins because I think those are BS. Most likely they're synthetic. I have no idea. They never really talked about their process of these minerals and vitamins, so I like to choose whole food options versus synthetic vitamins and minerals. Excuse my dogs, they're playing. I really like the way that they lay out their guaranteed analysis. Here you can see the amount of protein is 26, the fat is 14.5, and they also do the lovely job of giving me the carbohydrates as well, which is 41. Now, looking at this, the protein meets my bare minimum. I like to see 27 and more. And then the carbohydrates is still really jacked up, most likely because of the potatoes, the peas, and the lentils that we saw pretty high on the list. All right, still also their clusters, we're going to look at the whole grain chicken and oat. Pretty much kind of the same story here, a decent amount of green ingredients, but we still have those high carbs, oats, and barley that I don't love to see because dogs do not need carbs. And then the same reason for the ground flaxseed and the natural chicken flavor. This one has a lower protein content at 24, I think the same fat at 14.5, and slightly more carbs at 42, so this one is not my favorite compared to the turkey. All right, let's get into the dehydrated ones. These are the reasons why I like this company. So let's go ahead and look at the whole grain beef recipe. We see no red here. I did slightly adjust my expectation for the ingredients because all of these obviously are going to be some sort of processed, but good news is because it's not a kibble, we're not starting off with a processed ingredient and then further going through the extrusion process of further processing food. So the fact that these are dehydrated and that's where the process stops, I like it. Now, because there's a lot of plant matter in here, you really only see one type of meat in here. Everything else is, I did put the oats and barley, even though they're not my favorite, in a green because they are organic. But mostly everything else in here besides the beef and the eggs is all plant matter. So our protein level is pretty low at 22.5 and our carb content still pretty high at 47. And I do not love that. Okay, let's see what happens when we do the same thing, but grain-free. Again, pretty much the same thing here. We only have now one type of animal protein. I don't even see eggs in here. Dehydrated sweet potatoes, dehydrated potatoes, and flax seeds. So again, we might have a pretty high carb content in here. Everything else is a simple dried, and I do like somehow that we boosted up the protein content at 31%. Like that. Our carb content went down to 36. I still think that's high, but at least we're almost at a closer 1-to-1 ratio of protein and carbs. So my overall thoughts about this company, I do like their concepts and their standards. However, I do wish that they would change their recipes ever so slightly to contain more animal-based protein and way less carb content ingredients. Give me less grains. I just, because of that, they're kind of going to get a low score for me despite the organic ingredients. And then, of course, especially for the dehydrated food, because it's less processed, that normally would get a higher rate for me. But again, we kind of rate this as an entire company.
If you want to see my ratings per recipe, drop me a comment below and I will send you a breakdown of every single recipe that I've ever reviewed with their ingredients list, their pricing, and I kind of rank them. So I'm going to have to give this company a B minus, which is actually a lot lower than I thought I would be giving when I was looking at their website. But going and diving into each ingredient, I still think they can do so much better.